Welcome back to the Injector's Business Blueprint, the show where we talk about what it actually takes to run a med spa. You know, beyond cute scrubs and Instagram reels.
I'm Brandon, Injector, med spa founder, and yes, I still actually see patients. Wild, right?
And I'm Erin, business coach for med spa owners who are tired of guessing their way through growth. I've done it all, leading teams and running spas around the world, fixing all kinds of disasters. Now, I just help you avoid them.
If you're here for fluff, feel-good quotes, or business advice from someone who hasn't held a syringe since Botox was new, you're in the wrong place.
We're pulling back the curtain, pouring a metaphorical glass of wine, and talking real business strategy, real team drama, and how to actually build a business that doesn't break you. Let's get into it.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Injector Business Blueprint. I'm Brandon.
I'm Erin.
I know we didn't tag that one or start it as we should have, but you know what? It's okay. It's Friday morning. I am slowly getting my glycemic index just up a little bit because I just shoved a huge donut in my face and it was really good. And the funny thing was the guy at the bakery, it's like at a local grocery store, he looked at me and my daughter Olivia was with me too. She's in the office today. And he's like, "You are two of the fittest people I've ever seen. And you're probably not going to eat any of those donuts." And I said, "Sir, you are very wrong. I'm going to have two of those donuts."
So do you just like have good genes? Because if I eat a donut, you can tell, like same day. It's like my face blows up, like...
It's genetics. And I think I do work out a lot. I do Pilates 3 days a week and something else, usually one or two. So I'm just blessed, I guess. Blessed to be stressed. My tagline for life. Blessed to be skinny, I guess, is what I'm destined to be.
Fit. Skinny, but fit, toned.
Exactly. But, I got to run around and use all of these, extra sugar molecules to start thinking about the rest of this year. So kind of segueing in a weird way into this episode, what's been on my mind because, I think that the common theme in aesthetics is the J months are a little slower, right? We're in almost end of July at this point. And I'm already starting to think back to school, as I'm sure most moms that have multiple children at home are ready to pack their backpack and get them the F out of the house. I'm ready for them to do that and then come to me. So trying to think of, marketing strategy plus the seasonal changes, right? We're going to come into fall. It's microneedling season, chemical peel season, kind of correct the sins of the summer. So trying to think of a good strategy to not just go in cold into what I really think is Q3. I don't really feel like this is Q3. It's like it starts in September.
It starts and ends in September. Yeah, I think it's probably on a lot of people's mind because like end of July is when people start to sober up in and around the fact that it's like, oh, summer's almost over. What's next? What am I planning? How is my schedule coming together? I got to, as you mentioned, right? Kids back to school, got to enroll them in the sports and do all of the things. So I think it's like that midsummer, like sobering moment around like, oh gosh, I got to get back into gear. I got to, get back into my routine, all the things, right? Got to get back to reality. And so obviously as a business owner, we're thinking about the same thing. Is like, okay, when everyone's coming back to their regular routine, what are we offering or how are we grabbing their attention? They might have been kind of a little bit away or like not paying attention over the summer. They were distracted. They're on vacation, whatever it might be. That now, how are we reintroducing ourselves come September?
Right.
What are the things that we're doing to get people back in? Are we incentivizing? Are we doing events? Are we running, a back to school promo? So obviously we can unpack all of that. And I think it might be a good time to just really start thinking about where are we at in the year in the sense of dollars and cents in terms of the business. So we want to look at numbers first to determine how far away am I from my goal, or, how much of a gap do I have to close so that we understand the type of incentive, the type of promo, right? So if you're already on track and meeting goals, maybe you don't have to incentivize, or maybe you don't have to run something that is, really pulling a ton of people in. But if you notice checking your numbers that maybe you're not where you thought you'd be come the end of month 7, this might be the lens to look through to go, okay, I now can see that if I don't do something drastic, or if I don't really go all in the next couple months to promote, again, an event, an incentive, a package, a program, whatever it might be, you want to look at those numbers to understand how many packages do I have to sell? How many memberships do I have to sell? What is that offer going to look like so that I can really bring in the traffic that will help me close the gap in my goals? So I always like to look at the numbers first, so then I can determine what type of promo, what type of incentive, what type of event, so that I also then can choose which revenue segment I'm really going after, because they all have different profit margins, right? Let's say you need to run a laser promo because the business needs to close a gap with more profit, versus maybe you're doing an injectables promo where there's a little less profit, but maybe you have a bigger database of clients, so you can get more traffic in. So you want to be a bit more strategic and not just say, well, it's back to school, so I'm going to put on acne packages, right?
Right.
Not really looking at, well, how many packages would I have to sell? What is that yielding in revenue? What does that look like at the bottom line? So that you can go in strategically, still have a great offer that clients love, but also where the business gets paid.
Absolutely. And you kind of sparked something in my head too, because I kind of forgot that I'm just rolling out memberships now, because I wanted to make sure that I took a little bit of time and not have something right out the gate, because I want to see what people want and what people gravitate towards. And quite honestly, I've just kind of modeled 3 different tiers around 3 specific patients that I socialized offers, benefits, structures to. Like, what actually sounds appetizing to you? What is something that you actually want out of a membership? And at the top of the membership, like, kind of structure in my mind is really just to foster loyalty. It's not even about money. 2 of my memberships, I really don't make money. You'd probably yell at me for how they're structured, but it's literally just to foster loyalty. They're really centered around banking dollars, because people in my area, it's not, there's different medians, right? But like, I want to kind of help those that I know want to come in for aesthetic treatments, but aren't the best with managing funds. And I feel strongly that if they had that little beauty bank set aside, that it will help them become more adherent with treatment plans. So, and then I have one level that is for kind of the girl that loves everything. So, there's a little bit of a heavier discount, but there's a higher fee per month, but also you get a free service quarterly. So I'm kind of trying to marry a couple different things to provide what I think is the best for everybody. But I think that this is going to be a prime time to roll those out without having to necessarily discount so much. Because and I'm curious for your thoughts on this as well. As far as discounting, I know my good friend Jared said there's only 3 reasons you discount. Your patients are new to you, there's a new service, and I think if there's something else that you want they haven't tried before, there's three things, and I think that might be it, or I might be screwing up the third. But
Yeah, it could be a re-engagement, right? Like maybe it's a lapsed client that they came to you
yeah.
and then you're trying to get them back. So
Mhm.
yeah, first of all, you said something really important that I think maybe some people don't focus on when they're creating a membership or when they're creating some kind of incentive, is the strategic or intentional direction you want to go in.
Mhm.
Meaning, for you were like, you're probably gonna, yell at me for this. But if something is done in a strategic way, even if it's not bringing in specific dollars and cents right away, it's still a strategic move because what we're trying to do or where you're at in your business is it's more about exposure and making sure that you're kind of training that client to be loyal, come on time, do those regular things. So you're in a training phase with your clients, so it makes sense
Hmm.
the way you're trying to run certain tiers of your membership
Hmm.
just to, again, because you've launched recently, we want to make sure that they understand that you're a staple in the community, you're not going anywhere, you're reliable, so that you give them the opportunity. It's kind of like dating, right? It's like we're before we get married and then you're going all in, we just
Right.
want to get you into like this regular rhythm of coming to see me, making sure we're on time, making sure we're up to date, and
Hmm.
getting them into the commitment and lifestyle of taking care of themselves. So, not mad at that. I
Yay.
love that it's very strategic, right? You're aware that you're not making a lot on the bottom line, but that's not really the purpose. And there are other levers you can pull if you need to, bank cash. You
Hmm.
could do a flash sale. You could do something for like a VIP day or whatever it is to just get those funds in. But I think it is a great time for you where we're looking at membership in the different tiers. I think the intention is the most important thing because, even in marketing, there's lost leader marketing where you're just spending money that you will never get back for
Right.
the opportunity to get in front of the right person. But it's more about what you do when the person's in front of you or when they
Hmm.
have eyeballs on your brand or your business. So, intention is super important because then you know how to manage the client relationship.
Hmm.
So if you're just running discounts or promos or packages and there's no real intention other than I need to make money, that's where I usually see things going sideways or they don't really work out the way
Right.
that you want. So
Hmm.
I think whether you're doing a membership or you're doing an event, you mentioned something before we hopped on the call. Like um, again, a reintroduction in September of an event where you have an open house or you're inviting back your clients to have, just a showcase or a refresh. And
Hmm.
not that you need to be launching a new service or launching something new, a new menu, a new product, or whatever. It could be something like, over the summer, we re-merchandise and move things around and we freshened up, or like maybe there was painting done or whatever. It doesn't actually matter. But understanding the intention of why you're bringing them in. What do we really want to get out of this? So that at the end of it all, we can actually measure, did this go as planned? Did we achieve our goal? And whether the goal was exposure, more like, again, maybe it's collecting new contact information to market to people. Maybe it's just, I wanted them to meet and greet with all of the team so that they become more comfortable. Or maybe it's just, we want sales, right?
Right.
So I think it's just important to have an intention and be strategic with that intention so that you can measure the success. So a lot of the time when clients are like having an event or they're running a promo, I'll say, what is the goal? So that you can measure, did it go well or did it not? So
Hmm.
sometimes I have clients that are like, oh my gosh, we did so well. I'm like, okay, well, what's the numerical value of
Right.
well?
What does well mean to you?
Exactly. What does well mean to you? And then when they share their numbers, they might say like, "Oh, we were looking to make 10 grand and we actually made 15." So now it's like, "Wow, you blew that out of the water." But then I have other clients who are like, "We only made 15 because we really wanted to hit 30." So again, you kind of want whatever, event, promo, package, incentive you're doing, you want to be strategic. You want to understand like, why am I doing this? What do I want to get out of it? How do I
Hmm.
measure my success? So that again, as you repeat the things that go well, you know exactly or precisely what is going to work.
Hmm. I agree 100%. And I think,
I don't even know if I answered your question.
no, you did. I think that you just have to be strategic with discounting because if you do it too often, then people will get accustomed to it. They'll wait for it. They will never pay your price.
Yep.
And I think it just adds to your credentialing, your worth, your value. So I think you have to kind of like establish your unique value proposition and really be firm with that and be comfortable with that because it nothing is more irksome to me when someone reaches out and their first question is, how much is your tox? That to
Mm,
me says you have no interest in being a loyal client to me because my prices are all on my website. There's nothing hidden. You can go into Pagaro, you can go into my website. So that means you haven't invested any time in me.
yep.
So why do I want to invest so much time in you? And I know that's not always the case, but more times than not, when price is the number one thing you ask, I don't know if I'll ever see you again. And
Fair.
I don't really, and this is probably not great being a new business, but like, I don't chase those people. Like, I'm not going to sit there and have like a text battle with everything. I
No,
like to
and you
teach people,
shouldn't.
and I
You
don't.
really
Yeah,
shouldn't.
I don't. I try to cut it off like, I like to teach people how to fish. That's why I make blogs. If someone wants to have like a consult over the phone, like I really cut that off. Because I've gotten into it. I mean, I feel like you do that once and then you learn. Um, but I think it just lessens the value. If you have this many questions, we need to have a consult. There's only, I can't really tell you anything, and I charge for my consults because time is money.
Mhm.
And, then we can go from there. But, I think that's why I want to bring on the memberships because it's only been 6 months, but I want to start rewarding some of the people that have been here through day one. I want to make it incentivizing. I wanted to make them kind of like, it really doesn't make sense if you don't do this kind of thing,
Yep.
which I've kind of structured them in that way. So, but really it's just the number one goal is to foster loyalty. So, we'll see how they go. But I know that that doesn't work for everyone, or you might already have a really great membership and you have a ton of members, but maybe your location is just super transitional and people were moving. One thing that I thought whenever, you mentioned the month of September is school starts again, but depending on your area, maybe it's good to have an open house too, because you might have a whole new subset of brand new patients that just moved in. Maybe there's a new school that got built or, whatever, a new housing plan. I live in an area where they're still building houses. So, I'm thinking of that in the future and how I can maybe be more strategic with my marketing or,
Yeah.
how I can kind of expose myself in a different way that not everyone is doing. So I have some ideas in my head, but, now in this time of, maybe you have a little bit more of time on your hands than you'd like, it's time to start thinking outside of the box. Um, I have a random question for you, Erin.
Yeah.
I know you work with a lot of people. I want to know what is the like most unique collaboration that a spa or med spa has had with another vendor? Can you think of anything that's like, oh, that one was fun, it was racy, it was different?
You know what? I think I've never been asked that question, so I
Mhm.
haven't really paid attention, but I can say most of the collaborations, from what I recall, are pretty safe.
Mhm.
It's like they collab with an IV clinic, they collab with a gym, a Pilates studio, a yoga studio. Um, I may have had a client who, and I thought this was brilliant. I can't remember, it might have been a few years back, who collabed with a fine dine restaurant. They were in a smaller town
Mhm.
and they collabed with a fine dine restaurant um, because they went after the same clientele.
Mhm.
And I don't recall, I actually have to like look back in notes and stuff uh, to see, but I think they collabed with a fine dine restaurant. I've had a client collab with a real estate agent, and I think one of them did with a Mercedes dealership, like whatever
Cool.
local Mercedes
Mhm.
dealership was there. So nothing too racy. But it, like in my mind, I would say on average, those are a little bit outside of the box, but totally aligned because
Mhm.
that was their ideal client. The clients who are buying the Mercedes are the clients that would go to my client.
I love that.
Um, but yeah, I love to do a great collab when you're going after the same client or if you have a shared ideal client. So even like yacht clubs, golf and country clubs, Like these types of things where it's like our ideal client is already there. So the best was like when I lived in Hong Kong, we always were looking for strategic partnerships. And since it was like such a big expat community, we had alignment and, some partnerships with like the American Club, which was like, so this is ridiculous. And I'm sure that it's here in the US too, but like
Hmm.
it was something wild. Like to be a member at that club, it was like 100K USD a year.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, like the in my corporate days, our membership went for I think it was around 70 or 90,000 Hong Kong dollars. Um, so it's like 30 grand or something like that to be a member with our spa and fitness.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think that these, like even a client does a collab with a boutique hotel in her town. And,
Hmm.
again, like I give these insights to my clients because I'm like, if you collab with a boutique hotel or a five-star hotel that's close by, like you have a lot of athletes, socialites, maybe, celebrities or even, local celebrities or local socialites, your local elite top 1% at some of these
Hmm.
hotels. And if you get in good with the concierge, like again, I used to work in, five-star hotels. There are certain people within the hotel that will know the agenda and the itinerary of all of the top guests,
Hmm.
including, I remember many times as a spa director, it was like they would call down and they're like, there was some celebrity and it's like they need a particular fitness trainer, they need an IV, they need this, they need that. And so I had to supply, right? Someone for them
Hmm.
because that was like my wheelhouse. So yeah, I remember as a like spa director, there were lots of times I was reaching out to an injector, or I was reaching out to someone who owned a laser machine or someone who had IVs or whatever. So I think as you look to, okay, what are we really going after for the rest of Q3 and Q4? I think it's good to think outside of the box because also that's where inspiration will be like it comes alive when you start going,
Absolutely.
okay, well, how can I get more reach or how can I do these kinds of things where you don't necessarily have to just run a promo or run, you know, a deep discount. Maybe it's just that doing a collaboration would actually get you the exposure to a brand new, bigger audience. So that's why I
Hmm.
always say, try to collab with your Pilates studios, your yoga studios. And I know that you're in the class and you're enjoying the class, but you're also plugging your business because those are
Absolutely.
all of your ideal client, right? It's
Yep.
people
You
who are
gotta wear the
I
branded
love it.
merch
Okay.
too.
So first of all, you have the most merch that I've seen. I'm like, okay, I'm wearing my spa business coach t-shirt, which is
Yep.
so old and raggedy. You've
Uh-huh.
got, yeah, you've got like sweaters and t-shirts and
Everything.
tank tops and
Yep.
uniforms. And I'm over here like, I'm I'm like wearing the same shirt for the last 2 years. I need to get on your level.
I mean, I'm literally a walking billboard. I have a huge sticker on the back of my car that has my logo and a QR code. Actually, I forgot. I didn't put that on social media. I should probably post that.
Oh my God,
Um,
yes.
I got a personalized plate, B underscore MPWRD, be empowered. Like,
I love that. Because listen, I'm that person, especially when I first moved to Florida. I am that person who I was taking, like anyone driving by that had a vehicle that said like pool service or like pest control. I was
right?
like, I'm new here. So I was taking photos of all these vehicles. So when I sat down to go, okay, now I got to hire someone, I went through all my photos. So I would have told, like, I'm that person that would have done the QR code like in
Hmm.
traffic, which
Yeah.
I don't text and drive, but definitely would have been like, I need to snap a picture of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to circle back to the collab thing. So I had someone reach out on Instagram.
Oh, okay. This is a thing. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Let's hear
Yeah.
it.
So this is I'm trying to nominate myself for the most unique collaboration between a med spa and an outside vendor. So this woman owns an indoor gun range and she wants to do a Botox and bullets event. And
I
I
love it.
said, you know what? Why not? And she's like, we do divorce parties and like all this stuff. And I was like, I'm in. I'm sold. Botox, shoot 'em up. Like,
Oh my God, I'm immediately picturing like assless chaps and cowboy boots and like, really expensive hats and like I I think this is so chic.
I think yes, except the assless chaps. I think we're going in a different direction there. But I mean, maybe if we do it on a Friday night, you never know. But it just goes to show you that you can't pigeonhole everyone into what you think. Like, yes, typically people that go to gyms and the salons, they're taking care of their body, they're taking care of their face, they're taking care of their nails. It's kind of like a no-brainer. But think outside the box because people that go to indoor gun ranges want aesthetic products too. So, it's a very unique idea, and I'm super excited to do something like that because it's something that's not in my direct wheelhouse. Have I shot a gun before? Yeah, but it's nothing I would ever really think about like, I should probably go in there and drop my business cards. But, don't ever feel that you need to be siloed in that
Yeah.
respect. I feel like there's so much opportunity to promote yourself and be aware, and you never know. You can never assume that someone is not interested in your services.
Yeah, okay, I'm all for this. So like let me know how this goes.
Yeah.
But it goes back to who has the same ideal client that I have.
Hmm.
So if you think about the average, and let's talk about, okay, it'll be a female, the average female who has a gun or goes to like a shooting range, what do you think their like socioeconomical status is? Right? It's not
Hmm.
when you kind of start looking at like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense because they go and maybe it's a hobby or maybe they go for, they're learning protection or whatever. But if it's a hobby, which most likely it is, right?
Right.
Because they run like memberships.
Hmm.
You have to think about like, I'm assuming, and I honestly don't know this because I'm Canadian and we're very like, you only get guns for hunting.
Yeah.
But my assumption would be that that's an expensive hobby,
Right.
right?
It's not cheap because I think you have to buy bullets every time. So,
I would assume
right.
firearms are also expensive. And I know I've seen this stuff in movies where it's like, oh, I got like my pink one with my diamond
Yep.
encrusted, whatever, right? Like I'm just thinking about that and I'm like, oh, this is such a smart collaboration
Right.
because that taps into a whole different group of people that maybe you didn't think of before, but are absolutely your ideal client. And then each of those people has their own network that's maybe, they're with the yacht club, the sailing club, the golf and country club, or whatever other club there is, right? Different supper clubs, right? Like these
Hmm.
kinds of things where it's like it opens up so many doors. So I love that you said, basically don't always feel like you have to color inside the lines,
Yep.
like explore, right? Sometimes it's good to be different and go after things in a different way. And you'd be surprised how many times, especially if you trust your gut or things feel aligned, it's like it opens up so many opportunities for you.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I
So I
love
think
that.
we've given people so much to think about. I think they're going to be like, where's my local gun range? Gun range is near me.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because again, like just when I worked in hotels and just seeing the amount of professional sports teams that would stay with us, and you learn their itineraries and their agendas and what they, because so basically what you do is you sit in an executive meeting every morning and you go through your VIPs and things like that, the people on property, and you go through their itinerary and all of the notes of like down to they want this particular thing in their room or this particular food or this, particular uh clothing,
Hmm.
sheets, towels, whatever it is. And so you get a window into these different groups of people who have very high status. And the transition over back into med spas, I'm like, if you're an injector, you should be like going to whatever local boutique or high-end hotel to understand like, hey, when you have a traveling hockey team or baseball team or basketball team, football team, like where are they staying? Why are like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a lot of them travel with their families, aka their spouses who are usually wives, right?
Yeah.
Who are like, hey, I got to upkeep. We've been on the road, or I need my facial, or I need whatever it is, right? And you start to see that, like, these different groups of people, even the executives, right? There's a lot of corporate events that happen at five-star hotels. So, yeah, I think just even getting to know that, like, head butler or the lead concierge, it's like, yeah, they're going to
Yeah.
have your number on speed dial when they have a high net worth client or something that comes in and goes, oh, you know what? Me and my friends had a long night. We need an IV. They're going to
Yep.
immediately call you. And if, again, these are great opportunities because as long as you can respond in a certain time frame, they're always going to pick you if they have a great
Mm-hmm.
experience, if you whatever, right? So again, I know it sounds like sometimes it sounds so far-fetched, but working in the hotel world, especially like high-end hotels, you see a lot of things where you're like, wow, really, really wealthy people they just have everything come to them.
Yeah, it
But
makes
the
sense.
good thing is once you're a trusted partner, it's like you will always have a book of business. So
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, no, this has been great, and I hope that we've given some people some inspiration to, get through the rest of this summer and move into fall with a little bit more gusto with some ideas. So, any final thoughts before we wrap up for today?
no, the last thing that I was just gonna say is I remember a client did a collab with a flower shop,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like all
Always a
of
good
these
one.
floral arrangements because I think it was like Botox and blossoms or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, right? But again, it's just when you look at who is always getting, I always think about Khloe Kardashian. Whenever you would see her on the show, she's always got fresh flowers everywhere. But
Yep.
there are people out there that have these memberships with flower shops and they always
Yep.
want to have fresh florals. And so, again, that's your ideal client coming together through a different vendor. So, yeah, I think we did give people a lot to think about. I know it was a little bit of a zigzag all over the place, but I think,
Hey, par
just
for the course.
yeah, I know. Hi, welcome to our conversation. It's always going to be like
Exactly.
that. But I think like just to kind of recap here, it's think strategically or focus in on your intention. What is the intention of the event, the promo, the incentive, the membership, so that you can create the strategy that matches that intention so that you can measure the success. So
Yep.
in whatever you do, go in with like real intention. And even if your intention is like, I want to make money, then give yourself very specific goals so that you can create a strategy to make that happen.
100% agree. All right, guys, have fun implementing. And until the next episode, thank you for joining us for yet another great conversation. Have a good day.
Bye.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Injector's Business Blueprint, where we turn chaos into clarity. If you found value in today's episode, hit subscribe, leave us a review, and share with another injector or med spa owner who's ready for real talk. Check us out on Instagram at InjectorBIZ Blueprint. Until then, stay blessed to be stressed.